welcome everybody to. Oh shoot! Can you hear me? I didn't even have my headphones on. Welcome everybody to Mud Flood was Armageddon. Mud Flood was Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else unless they're willing to debate you in a fair and honest way. Hopefully that sounds better, Randy.
I think it probably does.
You see, they got the. See what I got going here is the. I called this well, I'm the conspiracist, Salt Paco, so Paco Salt. I don't, Randy, I thought we were cured of that dyslexia once we started studying.
Are you broadcasting from some old railroad depot or something, or what's in your background?
It's the 9/11 photos of towers that turned to dust.
Oh.
You see, this little thing here tipped over and hit this tower that was metal, supposedly, and then it just turned to dust. So, am I in the way there? You can see
Well, it looks like four different,
four versions of the same tower taken.
Progression.
Yeah. So they're doing something's going on, and we've got to prove it tonight, RJ, because kind of shot my mouth off that it's a mini 9/11. And what I had done before, full disclosure, I've declared myself as the black swan. The one thing, I think that was in the context of the Stones crying out of, someone finally willing to be able to say the ancestors that the Native Americans teach about really are the Titans that are the rocks that are the dust we're made of, and things like that. Yeah. So Salt Paco's out there, but I'm in line with the Bible, and as long as the mouth of two or three witnesses can keep agreeing on these things, I'm going to keep rolling. But my main consensus was when I made this video back in 2017, when a couple of these ships, I'm going back 6-7 years right now to 2017, and I made at that time, I said World War III, it was started. These are the things that are starting World War III, and I declared that China or Russia can hack our radar and steer our ships, because our ships were getting run into. Our billion-dollar radars that sweep the area, get the ping, Commander Scotty, or whatever, they shut down and they didn't work. And battleships had cargo shipping containers crash into them, and they never saw it coming. And they hit the captain's window and put him in a coma, and he almost died. They attacked the captain's cabin. I'm going to be able to prove that tonight, starting off with looking at some pictures. Had five people watching now. 6 were watching. One got bored pretty darn quick, but that's the way it goes on YouTube, where the average view is 3.8 seconds or something. Don't quote me on that. Hey, I started out with this. Look, I got my grade back from the midterms. I'm doing good. It said it is one of the most reflective papers produced in the class. Well, I'm sure the most reflective paper was probably by Will Brody. He's smart. I've had 3 classes with him now, and he is always the top in the class. So but this is telling. Well, you can kind of, and he said, your conclusion is also thoughtful. Wonder what my conclusion, but his thing was, yes, this is a whitewashed version of history, but it was meant to be that way. What?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to see here.
No.
That's here's the pier, and doggone if that doesn't look like, the same. Let's just go with the conspiracy stuff. RJ, what do you say? I'm not going to hide it. I'm into a conspiracy. That's too dead on. And I have to slow down, ask you, big brother.
Well, it looks like the load got fluffed a little bit also.
That load's a write-off. Yep. Yep. That load's an insurance write-off. You're the insurance expert. What's it worth? It's the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Well, shoot. Okay, so back to this. Look at that. That's, at least from this angle, it looks dead on. RJ, brother Randy, true or false? Did the plane from 9/11 hit the office that had the computer that held the information about the $2 trillion that the Rumsfeld announced the day before? We don't know where that money is. And boom, here comes a plane that hit that computer dead on. I thought we weren't supposed to believe in coincidences anymore. Go ahead.
But that would have been in Building 7. But the towers held where they were intercepting those Wall Street, whatever, where they could flip dollars on the, on the whatever,
Poker
the trading,
table?
on the trading,
on the poker table
by a millisecond, and then they could manipulate that. That's what they were doing in the towers. Yeah, the
I'm going on record right now saying Nancy Pelosi probably made money.
Well, she wasn't the only one, but who really
that's pretty vague though, because I didn't say she made money on 9/11. What?
The guy that he had some sort of like a Jewish name, if I'm not mistaken, but he had double
Jeffrey
insurance.
Epstein.
No.
Oh, you're thinking of Rothstein, the owner of the building?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rothstein. He had double insurance on it with a port.
Yeah, that does sound kind of Jewish now that you mention it. Double indemnity? How did I goof that up?
He was double dipping.
How come I thought that was I know now that you're probably right, but for some reason I was just a little off on that
but
one.
The Pentagon occupied much of that Building 7, along with I don't know, was it some New York municipal occupy? I don't know, but yeah.
Sure got that, what? It sure hit that building dead center. That doesn't I don't think it takes away from my point that when they're going to hit the target, man, they hit it dead on.
Seems like it.
That doesn't seem very well protected. I mean, that's a pretty small pillar for such, and Redacted covered it. Jimmy Dore covered it. There's supposed to be someone on board that steers this ship for them. Like, you can't be from Singapore, and I guess they're what do they call the master of the ship? He's from Ukraine, but they weren't piloting it. Technically, someone from Baltimore was supposed to be piloting this oversized monstrosity. This is we're going to run into one of the 2017 incidents where 7 people were killed because another Singapore type cargo ship like that ran into Vice Admiral Joseph Aucoin, the commander of the Navy's 7th Fleet, described the damage and flooding as extensive, including a big puncture under the waterline. The crew had to fight to keep the ship afloat, he said, and the ship's captain is lucky to have survived, because what we're going to see is that somehow they got their computer hacked. They didn't see it coming. And while the captain was in bed in the Japanese harbor of some like Singapore ship, or not sure it was Singapore again, but it hit the captain's, the best place right on target where it could have killed him. That's one thing that they're good at. Mamma mia, let me go. I just wanted to show that again tonight because I thought that thumbnail was so funny.
Yeah.
So this was supposed to be what the show is about, that the GPS systems that drive these boats are not encrypted. When a Navy ship crashed into a cargo ship not that long ago, about 6.5 years ago, I declared World War III had started. It was a cyber attack that made it happen. You know, when I got onto them, Randy, was when I was at Kings Island or Cedar Point, one of the huge, it's what I did all summers, is go to amusement parks and ride the roller coasters because I love that tickle in the tummy.
Yep.
They shut down the power in I think 20,000 and 2006, and then I realized, oh wow, they can shut down our power. So I want to start reading this over again. Well, the ship crashed not long ago. It was a cyber attack that made it happen. I know they are saying this was not nefarious. How do they know so quickly? I am not sure, but given how often I didn't click to show more, Laura Logan looks like she's a parachuter, skydiver. In popular, oh, remember, I wanted to explain the other day because when I was like on mushrooms, I said like, I'm there like, it seemed like I was insulting my parents when I said, you know, I didn't get the encyclopedias I asked for, but I got the ones the Lord wanted me to have. I don't think people realize I got the bottom of the barrel. So when, you know, when I was like, I wanted to get, you know, the Encyclopedia Britannica. I got Funkin' Wagnalls. All right. It was
That's
a
the one that was always talked about on
get it with your green stamp.
Roland and Martin. Roland and
Yeah.
Martin.
Everybody, they made fun of this, but I read it. My parents ended up getting the one. Well, this is the one that began to sell them through the, you know, at your supermarket, you know, get one with your green stamps from Jewel. You know, well, I think that's Albertson now or Safeway, you know, Kroger. There's only like two, Kroger and Safeway. They're the big boys, you know, Albertson and Kroger or something. But Unicorn Press, that's an interesting name. It's not like they didn't have any information. It just feels like now I feel like I understand why I'm so limited on all this stuff. But I don't think we got them at the 299 at the store. I think my dad went and got the 36 volume set because they were going to do updates. So I mean, it kept me busy, but it's still on the farm. What else are you going to do? But so, and yeah, they even mentioned that people made fun of it. Where's that thing where they made fun of it on Ronan Martin? But anyway, I didn't want to just feel like my parents didn't try, you know. So here's the deal: the cargo ship the size of a skyscraper. It says drifted dangerously close. Mayday, Mayday! It yelled. So they did save a few lives. The 95,000 gross ton. Okay. That's what it weighs without all the cars and the baggage and stuff. Plowed into it. The harrowing scene was caught on video. Huh. This is what they know about it. It was a direct hit. The Dalai Lama. This thing hit another. This is not its first accident. Did you know that? 2016, it hit the dock of something. You know, the other countries use body doubles all the time. We're the only major country that does not use body doubles. Did you know that?
Or we're not aware of it.
No, we just don't even do it. Do you watch the Young Turks? It's just like they admitted the CIA don't do assassinations anymore. We don't do the body double thing anymore.
Okay.
There's the layout. That bridge is no more. That's not going to cause a hassle for the people who maybe lived in this apartment and worked over here, is it?
Not if they have a rowboat.
That's their normal commute route. This guy right now, he thought he was busy. He thought he had a full-time job. Dude, you got a full-time job now. Your city is up for grabs, man. And immediately the first thought, the first idea goes to, what happened to the people? What happened? What's the impact? Are they going to show it hit? Well, I could show, I think I probably should go.
I sent you that video that showed it. But yeah, there's plenty of them that showed it.
The Dolly
Go to the-
Llama.
Hey, what's going on with shipping?
Go to the 6-minute mark.
So we've had an incident in the port of Baltimore involving the motor vessel Dolly losing control.
Motor vessel
and
Dolly.
hitting the
Wow, it's like looking in a mirror.
bridge.
Hey, look, he's got a Lego globe.
Yeah,
Nerd-
you've seen that. Yeah.
Nerd alert.
Oh, you
Wow.
went too. I guess you went further than what you should have. If you hover above it and go back, maybe the 5-minute mark. I don't know.
Okay. Look at the size of this guy's home printer. Are you kidding me? I thought I had it going when I was rocking two.
There you can, right there.
Yeah, when I was rocking 2 monitors, I thought I was cool. That guy has an industrial strength printer right in his office. I'm
And
not
then
jealous.
You click go and it won't take long. And
Flash as she hits the piling right there. There are barriers.
See that? Some people are making a big deal about. They're calling that an explosion. RJ, do you see where that? Am I
that's
showing
the light? I don't know.
around the pilings, but
They're saying that this is an explosion, or there's another explosion. Watch for it. But look, that's a dead hit.
not enough. And that will
Was that an explosion? They say. Redacted will
Mhm.
talk
cause
about it.
the collapse and just the horror of this event taking place here. And that is the tragedy right there.
That's what I was thinking. Wouldn't there be electric cables that would be getting pulled apart?
For what?
Like to keep the lights on the bridge and stuff.
Oh, that'd be
That would be like sparks. We should expect sparks. But watch the way. Let's go back a little bit more. Because the way, they're acting like they were trying to be heroes. Watch how they slow the boat down. But there is a clip on either the Jimmy Dore or the redacted thing where they speed it up 8 times the speed. And every little movement of them turning it off, turning this and that off, adjust for a perfect hit.
Sorry, it's buffering here. So you got power now coming back on.
You'll be able to tell from the other views and things that right now this ship would have safely, gone like a field goal kickers. They don't care if they don't get to have to kick it straight on. Most of those guys, when they're concentrated on that kicking, if they're on the hash mark, it's nothing to them. They just kick it right through, But this boat is adjusting, I think.
And should have propulsion.
It's going to miss it. What are we going to do? Drop the anchor, drag it, cut it hard to the port.
Quiet, goes dark. Now you start seeing black smoke coming out of the port funnel.
That's not my mouse.
So she is belching black smoke at this time. You can see it coming out right here. So this indicates, obviously, an engine problem. Now, what are they doing at this point? They may be backing down at this moment, trying to stop their forward progress. Now, the problem with backing down on a ship is that is single.
There's
prop.
still cars
And
going
what's
over
gonna
it. They
happen
said that
is
they
when you
did
try
a
to back
mayday
down,
and
the
stopped
ship is
all the
going to start
traffic.
careening. It's going to start pitching down. And what happens here, based on the track line that I saw in marine traffic, is the ship starts to go across the channel. She was basically
that was
in
the
the
last
middle
truck.
of the channel, coming out right down in the middle.
He
And
made
now
it.
she's
Oh no,
pointing
here
toward
comes
the right
another
side.
truck.
Notice more black smoke coming out. I saw a helicopter image this morning that showed
Well, then there was like
the anchor had been dropped. So what you would want to do is try to
20 road workers working on the bridge.
The problem with this whole scenario is this:
Should I do the closed caption?
if you start backing down on the
I
ship,
don't no,
if you
don't
just
matter.
keep the ship going, stop the propeller, and use the rudder,
That truck is going to make it.
But
Come
now
on,
the vessel is
dude,
starting
go.
to veer out of the channel.
I don't think we will.
You see the ship starts crossing from the north side of the channel to
Go.
the south side of the channel, and then eventually out of the channel entirely. And at the speed she's going, she is not able,
because it's still got that other span to go. It isn't cleared the bridge yet.
No.
It may be. Oh no! Here comes another two cars.
The ship at this time.
What the hell? This side didn't close down. Only this side did.
To take her off the berth at
I don't think they had time to. If they were manipulating any traffic, it was because of the road workers working on the bridge. But it's at a time of the day where, you know, it's minimal flow.
Not exactly sure.
You know, they weren't.
Yeah, 5:30 in the morning. This happened this morning, ladies and gentlemen.
1:30 Eastern time, a.m.
But this morning. This is fresh news, people. This is a retaliation from Russia in, I think, General Kelly's mind. I'm not sure what Scott Ritter is saying, but they've been running him out there. Scott Ritter's been in the news weapons inspector since the 80s.
And even if you drop the anchors, which we know she drops the port anchor, looking at the image from
that was under Reagan, that SALT II agreement, I'm pretty sure.
It was angling.
You must be pretty close to the 5-minute mark now.
Any sort of speed, it's not going to stop the vessel. She would have dropped. I'm not sure if she dropped the starboard anchor.
Yeah, they talk about the smoke, and it needs to turn it to watch this last.
There are barriers around the pilings, but not enough, and that will cause the collapse and just the horror of this event taking place here. And that is the tragedy right there.
We might want to look at that. The United States ship called the Fitzgerald and the 55 ACX Crystal collision. I don't know if that's MVACX. I don't know. Philippine flags. Okay, it was not. This is not a double Singapore. Philippine flag container ship 80 miles southwest of Tokyo, Japan. So they were headed to that harbor 10 nautical miles southeast of the shitty. Oh, I was already looking ahead to Shimoda, trying to pronounce it in my head. The city of Shimoda on the Japanese mainland of Honshu. The accident killed 7 people, and it took them a long time to put out that list. And the captain in a coma. Their bodies were recovered from the flooded berthing compartments of the ship. At least 3 more of the crew of nearly 300 were injured, including the ship's commanding officer, Commander Bryce Benson. The top 2 senior officers and the top enlisted sailor were relieved of duty and faced criminal charges, which were later dismissed. Dozen other sailors will receive non-judicial punishment. Owners of the merchant vessel have agreed to pay $27 million to the Navy in compensation. Shouldn't that be past tense? Shouldn't they have already paid for that? I mean, that's happened in 2017. Something happened in the half hour prior to the collision. A shipping container wasn't picked up on radar. The officer on duty, a Lieutenant Sarah Kopuk, said, "Hey, this ship is getting closer and order to turn. But then the order was rescinded. Instead, she ordered to increase to full speed and rapid turn. These orders were not carried out. I'm thinking they were hacked. I don't want to blame the woman. I don't blame that officer. If they're not carried out, it's because they were hacked and they had no control over the ship, nor the computers. That's pure speculation from a known conspiracist. Heel, kneel. I always get the port and the starboard messed up. This one says the starboard is the right side of the ship. I know that there's a red and green light involved. Us being totally from the Midwest, Randy, we don't know the harbor lights like a lot of people.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
If I had to know, I would know.
Cast off the sloop, John B. That's a weird song. So anyway, I think they were hacked. There's the damage of it. How does that happen when you pay billions of dollars for radar? And then they were going to, let's go back up to the top here. I think they wanted to try to fix it, but it wasn't worth fixing. It was billions of dollars worth of damage. Let's see, within a day, the investigations were begun, caused by multiple errors. I don't think they would. I don't think they're ever going to go like, we got hacked. Nothing we could have done.
It was the perfect storm.
The perfect storm hit. So we're going to be looking at this one, which is, I had to look for 20 minutes because, oh no, this one was easier to, the hardest one to find was this Fitzgerald one. I had to look and look because no matter what you type, well, I've got some later. I don't know if I have the example, but when I first did looking for this, U.S. Navy finally identifies it. So we'll be able to track how long. On June 18th was that story. When was it was in August. When was the actual?
Well, at least it wasn't the Evans Fitzgerald. We know where that one's laying.
Yeah, that's the bottom of the Lake Superior. So they did release the 7 sailors who died the next day. There wasn't a big long, but when I first started searching it, I was getting things like this: a 9/11 like event, Navy report on carrier suicides, cites missed warning signs, leadership failures from last year. Navy investigated unprecedented streak of suicides on the USS George Washington aircraft, revealed failures of all levels of leadership. And they weren't getting paid enough to have to put up to being on one of those in the Navy.
Yeah, I think the Nordstream was a bigger dollar sign. But yeah, this will be, 5-6 year project or something.
To fix it. You think to get the bridge
to
fixed.
Replace it, yeah. You're not going to fix it, but you can replace it.
So Senator John McCain converted late in life, married a young, hot-looking Roman Catholic girl, started writing books, or maybe, that's just a thing they do. But you remember he ran for president with a hubba Sarah. She was a young, attractive movie star type vice presidential candidate for John McCain. Remember all that?
From Alaska?
Yeah. Starts with a P. Palin.
Palin, yeah.
Yep. His ship they lost. It couldn't track a ship that came and ran into it. Like that same thing with the Fitzgerald. You can kind of tell, like, I don't know, pretty good shot, pretty good outline of the front of the boat, you know. How do you miss that?
It left a mark.
There it is. Wouldn't it be funny if that boat hit the Boston Bridge and it was carrying one of the cruisers or battle cruisers, battleship? C4. I sunk my battleship. Played that a lot. So it was involved in a collision with the Libyan flag tanker. I mean, how do you miss these things? Resulted in flooding again. Just lost track of it. How do these things happen? And, you know, it was right after September 11th. So I'm on around any September 11th. I am on full, as much anxiety as a Christian is allowed, I am experiencing. The same thing is going to be happening next month around Hitler's birthday. You know, depending on the time zone, April 19th and 20s are always freaky for me. Don't like it. Ever since Waco. That's when I found out about it. Does it? I don't know if it.
Waco?
Yeah, Waco was, same thing, Hitler's birthday. They plan those things to celebrate their crap.
Might as well.
Yeah, they're all happy. You know, they're. Oh, so this was the original Sullivan, I think, was one of those ones where the 5 people died at one time. Oh no, that's a type of a ship class. But I think the Fighting Sullivans, all of them died, and they made that like the Saving Private Ryan. You can't have brothers on the same ship and stuff. The USS Bohemie Richard. You ever hear of that one? Wasp class amphibious assault ship.
I'm not familiar with this one. No.
No, I only picked it out of the list of ships that are involved in peacetime accidents because it's the Bohemie Richard.
So this is an aircraft carrier, huh?
This is an aircraft carrier for sure. On 8th of August 2017, they're talking about a Wasp class, and well, it has a helicopter dock for amphibious assault based on the Terra class with modifications to operate more advanced aircraft and landing craft. Yeah, it's a Wasp class aircraft carrier. So it got previous fires on other Wasp ships. This one was designed to deploy the land elements of a Marine Corps landing force, helicopter, landing craft, and amphibious. So it's a helicopter aircraft carrier. Very unusual. But I am going to get into a little bit of some John Paul Jones because we've got to keep this all about the 1700s and the you-know-whos. Yeah, man, Freemason, Illuminati, Rosicrucians, they're my go-to. You know, like go round up the usual suspects. It's always going to be the Rosicrucians, the John Birch Society, the Freemason, Illuminati. They did it.
In the Spurs, yeah.
Big fire. That's really all I wanted to get to on that was like, hey, this ship, there was 3 ships named this, and all of them have been kind of unlucky, to say the least. John Paul Jones, I've not yet begun to fight. That's his famous saying. Yeah, we're going to see he's had a very confused background until, as I was reading, it is known that he was elected. You had to get elected to the American Philosophical Society. What am I thinking? In 1774. Well, that was like the future capital of the future United States. The sources struggle with this periods of Jones' life in the American colonies, except he's a hero, especially the specifics of his family situation, because they don't want to, who knows, making it difficult to pinpoint historically Jones' motivation, probably money, for immigrating to America. It is not known whether his plans were not developing as expected for the plantation. What plantation? Where's your footnote? As if he was inspired by a revolutionary spirit or money. It is known that he was elected here. We'll look at that later. Getting back to the John Paul Jones, Scottish naval captain of the American Revolution for their side, often called, Father of the American Navy, a title sometimes also credited to some other honkies. Crackers. Wait, I'm a cracker too. I remind myself of that famous actor, the Will Ferrell. Didn't he in one movie go out and go smoke pot and say, kill the honkies or something like that? It was crazy.
Right.
Jones was a Freemason. Second paragraph, first sentence, boom. I didn't have to wait long to get my answer. Yeah, there's something to those guys attacking that ship, letting them know from one Freemason to another, we have to do it. We're all in on it together. But this is absolutely the craziest paragraph. And please, Randy, give me some sort of rational explanation for this. John Paul Jones was a Freemason and made many friends among U.S. political elites, including the John Hancock, the Benjamin Franklin, and even his enemies who accused him of piracy. Well, before we get to the second sentence in this 2-sentence paragraph, he made friends among his enemies. I'm reading this the way it's written, and I've read a few sentences in my life. He, John Paul Jones, made many friends among U.S. political elite and even his enemies. That is what you call a contradiction.
No, that's taking one for the team, probably.
Oh. Well, it could be that too, yeah. Well, they accused him of piracy as enemies. That could be a mean thing to do. And he probably was a pirate, because piracy is legal for the country that hires you. If he sold his services to the United States and said, I'll give you part of the cut from the ships I capture.
It can be a career on the seas.
If you're into that piracy at any cost, it's a win-win situation. You got John Paul Jones, because listen to his follow-up career, this Freemason. So he fathers the U.S. Navy, even though he's born in Scotland, fled to Virginia, mysterious circumstances. I guess he wanted to continue his fight against Great Britain. Well, after he was done kicking their ass,
yeah, it's plenty suspicious. Yeah,
the war was over. Our war lasted. We wrote a constitution allegedly here, so they fired him because we don't need it. So then he goes and joins the Russian Navy and becomes a rear admiral. That's way up there, man. That don't make you think because you're a rear admiral. It's like, well, you're not in charge. You are in charge, man. That's like way up there. It's like saying a 3-star general is not way up there because you're not a 4-star general. A 1-star general is a presence in a room. You're a general. Ask any colonel that wanted to be a general. Slave ships, Jamaica, he just, he's one of these guys. What are these guys? A learned society founded in 1743. That's pretty close to 1711. Enough time for them to get their story straight and say, let's pass out this story. Again, it's in Philadelphia, the gift that keeps giving. Last couple of years, it just seems like this is a Roman Catholic enclave that said, we'll only need to be in charge for 10 years, and then you can go down to that district of Washington, D.C. So they signed a contract that said, no matter what, Philadelphia is the capital for 10 years. Founded by Benjamin Franklin of the Hellfire Club, considered, hey, everybody, have we ever wondered what was the first learned society in the United States? Now you know. And John Paul Jones, they hacked their computers. I'm a conspiracist. RJ, if people want me to stop being a conspiratist, they're going to have to try to stop putting this kinds of things in the news. (1811–1812) Maryland. Francis Scott Keys, Bonaparte, commit the devil's commit. A massive New Madras fault. The Mississippi. Quakes that last until 1816. The old world buried?
Some of it.
Nice
Much of
work. Good job. Saying hello to Cassie Smith. You know that the name, there's a song that was written by the occultist MI6. That's a spy agency for the Great Britain that James Bond worked for. What a coincidence. The man, Ian Fleming, who wrote James Bond, also worked for them. He wrote a book called Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and in it, the guy Caractacus Potts falls in love with a girl named Toot Sweet. No, Truly Scrumptious, and he makes a dog whistle called a Toot Sweet, and he becomes rich enough to marry her. This is so interesting. Quakes and Quakers involved in Pennsylvania. What do you think of that, Marcella? The Quakers and the Quakes. That could be something too. I've made a commitment to my mind since when I remember that I'm going to pin these comments that Marcella makes, because sometimes you'd have to think about them more than once, and we're kind of rushed for time.
Yeah, I'm sure she knows.
Yeah, she could, put some more stuff in there and give us some more breakdown. So we, no doubt these guys are all bad. The society has, they could be more vague, but they don't know how. About 1,000 members. As of 2020, 5,710 members have been inducted since its creation. Well, you can get this number, that correct, but you don't even know how many people are. What's the process of getting elected? Is it one of those, you get white stone, black stone? I think that's how they do it. Some other famous members. You ever heard of George Washington?
Yeah,
President George Washington. That usually gives it away. They go like, oh yeah, he's on the dollar bill. Another president. He's good at.
He was like the first official, but there was a few ahead of him.
Right. He's good at getting shot by Aaron Burr in a duel. There's no more presidents, but there's that Rittenhouse again. That poor kid.
Kyle.
The society lapsed into inactivity by 1746. I thought it was founded. So it lasted 3 years, but then it got revived in 1767. Promoting useful knowledge under the name of the American Philosophical Society, held at Philadelphia for promoting Roman Catholic poison of the Bible. Hey, it's got a
Well,
globe on.
that sounds like an oxymoron. Poison of the Bible?
That's what they consider it. They can't stand people reading the Bible, the Roman Catholic version of it.
Oh,
I
well,
forget what I said, but if I said anything that sounded offensive, it was an insult to Rome, not to the body of
well, I
Christ.
think it'd be more of an insult to God than
And I'm not insult. Believe me, that is the farthest thing from my
if
mind.
it is the Bible. I don't know.
Well, anybody that doesn't trust everything the Bible says about Jesus Christ and know that everything that he said is true, they're the ones in trouble, not me.
That's a fine looking globe and stand pedestal.
Yeah, yeah. Satellites similar to this one enable our cell phones and others to handle electronic devices to determine our exact location almost anywhere on the surface of the planet at any time.
Mm.
Thomas Jefferson Garden. They got to keep that in the mind of everybody. Okay, there's Randy's living room.
Mm-hmm.
That's his bedroom. That's his barber shop. They're bad. 7 deaths on the Fitzgerald, 7 deaths on the Fitzgerald. Revelation 15. This is for another day. But his name's Fitzgerald too. This mini 9/11 has interrupted an attack on the Obamas that's going to involve him, the senator that preceded this man preceded Barack Obama. He was proceeded, and the
In
only
the
reason
Illinois Senate, you mean? Or
Illinois Senate, all about Obamas, and that's where I was at in the Chicago suburbs. Happily, my one of my mentors, the famous Dr. Paul D. Lindstrom, founder of the homeschool movement in the United States, personally, had the phone number of Mayor Daley, and they talked, So it wasn't like I wasn't, getting my secondhand news from just anybody. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
Peter Fitzgerald spent half his fortune to get her out of office because she was elected the first black Democrat since ever. And she ended up hanging out with black cannibals in Africa. Black cannibals in Africa during her term in office. Carol Moseley Braun. So the Jesuit trained Peter Fitzgerald spent his fortune to get rid of her. But she's not the only one. There's pictures of President Ronald Reagan posing with a black African known cannibal, but he had repented of that, and he was being supported in one of the many. This former cannibal declared he was anti-communist, so Ronald Reagan threw money at him. So, and all of this led up.
He was done eating as far as cannibalistic meat. He was just doing the adrenochrome at that point, maybe. I don't know.
That's what I was going to tie it into. That's exactly where I was going to go with it. That's probably what, so now that they can send, just extract it, get it. I wonder if I have any Samoan wrestler things or the Samoan boat racing. Doesn't look like it.
Oh, as far as being pirates?
Flynn says the bridge collapse.
Here's their take on it.
Huh.
they work all over the world without hesitation. Oh, I was trying to read that.
Or maybe there's something more to it. Who knows? But those posts exist on Ukrainian Telegram channels.
It's like the Goodfellas. You got this? F you, pay me.
Yet here we are. There are harbor masters for every single one of these transit points in America that are in charge of assuring the safety of navigation.
Black swans normally come out of the world of finance, not military. The standard operating procedures for all United States ports, harbors, and bays that transit commerce and military activities are supposed to maintain an incredible level of discipline, says the straight up General Mike Flynn. He's not like a Scott Ritter to me, somebody that's just been in the news doing all the, he could be a cardboard cutout guy too, but I know him more than Mike Flynn. But anyway, he's a general. He said, but what happened? And he is saying that now the whatever Natalie's husband's name is, he's reading this. Clayton, that's what it is. There are harbor masters for every single one of these transit points in America that are in charge of assuring the safety of navigation. Start there. So this is something that General Flynn probably sent to Clayton. And because I think Clayton says, he thought, well, they said it's a nothing. So they're like, should I look into it? Should I not? And earlier this morning, he gets this thing. You should look into it.
There, he says. So start there. Talk to the harbor masters. Don't necessarily look at the boat itself. That's maybe a red herring. Look at the harbor masters. Look at the infrastructure. Look at the electrical infrastructure. Look at the computers. Was it hacked? So
I want to be a harbor master.
Look at that information, not just the boat itself, perhaps. So what do we know? Well, for one thing, we know the captain of the ship or the ship's master is Ukrainian.
Oh, that sounds too accusative. You better come up with something else.
Yeah, you don't like them kind of facts.
Yeah, I do. I'm a conspiracist, but I'm trying to act like, oh no, I'm shocked.
Today, posting congratulations to great work and to expect more surprises in Europe too, unless we approve more aid to Ukraine.
Ooh, Victoria Nuland said that?
These Ukrainian Telegram posts. This is a beautiful work all over the world without hesitation. If you don't accept the aid package, then get it. Look forward to our surprises throughout Europe. We will teach you to defend democracy and help those who need it.
Huh?
So maybe
I haven't seen anything like that.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe this is just some like Telegram opportunists, on different Telegram channels, just trying to play into this, right?
Did you see that Clayton is rocking one of those old paracord bracelets? He must be more into that survival mode than we know.
On different Telegram channels, just trying to play into this, right? Try to scare us. Or maybe there's something more to it. Who knows? But those posts exist.
Well, get on with it.
Telegram
Yeah, that's suspicious.
Wait until the Stavanger pilot comes on board. Just the same you have to do here in the Chesapeake Bay. Chesapeake Bay pilot needs to assist the master and is on board. They know everything about this harbor. They know every detail of it, and they are going to guide you out. You're from Singapore? A Chesapeake Bay pilot will be on board and guiding this ship out. And that's what was happening. This ship was being guided out of port on its way out to sea and transporting large amounts of cargo. So it was leaving. It was almost about to leave. And
I've been on the largest passenger ship a couple of times. Well, it's the largest passenger ship on the Great Lakes. It goes out of Chicago on tours for company picnics. Whenever my wife got another 5 years on the job, they would give us all a day on the yacht. I mean, by yacht, I mean it was freaking huge. It hold 1,000 people. That's the only experience I have. So he's going to break it down like the other man did.
Okay, there's power loss number 1 at about 12 seconds. Okay, then at about 22 seconds, it recovers power. So it comes back on here. And then you see black smoke.
Because it needed to steer. It needed to adjust. It got its speed up. Final adjustments, please.
Coming out of the engine, out of the whatchamacallit?
Achieve ramming speed.
Yeah.
Pull your oars inside the galley, slaves, and pick up your sword. We are going to ram them.
One of the anchors was dropped on the port side.
Bang!
And there you have the smash.
Now they're saying they saw
done and done.
Some people are saying that this light is an explosion in somewhere in this area. I'll slow it down.
It's questionable because
we're slowing down.
All lights.
I know that you are not going to take a stand on this tonight, one way or the other, but I may.
One of the.
So, who?
There's the splash.
Who received credit for capturing this footage?
Yeah, and who took those pictures of those guys on the boat taking this footage?
Well, this looks like some sort of stationary vantage point because it never, pans one way. It's just there.
No, I know exactly what you mean. These guys took the picture. Who took their picture? Because there's a couple of people that were not afraid to watch this go down. Somebody took this picture, and they both got the perfect angle.
Later, I mean, by that time the sun came.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, this is hours after.
Yeah, the sun is up.
Event.
But that's the same angle. So somebody had to be, or what are they going to say? They couldn't get any of the 217 cameras to work on the Pentagon in 9/11. But they got this security camera to work on a warehouse on the corner that showed everything.
Well,
here it goes. In this area, slowed down version of a slowed down, because does anybody see a possible explosion?
I don't think there's any need for controlled demolition. That looks like a real.
I'm with you on that. I did not see it. Let's go back a split second, and we'll watch for an explosion right here. I'm going to go back to, so we'll have to slowly watch that section. Watch it one more time. This will be the last time for at least this section.
So you have them lights flashing in the
right
background.
Here, right? It was right here. I saw something. It could have been a cable being pulled apart. They have to have power on the bridge. I know that. That's enough of it slowed down.
And it shouldn't take much more than a split second from whatever was feeding it, where that circuit's going to open up at the breaker, at the feed, but it's going to take a moment.
Yeah. And if it pulls apart,
cars on the bridge at that time. So at least they had enough to say, Mayday, Mayday, where we've lost control. We don't have control of the ship. Get people off the bridge. And they were able to prevent at least a lot more people from being killed or missing as a result of this. So But this is interesting. So journalist Michael Yon tweeted this afternoon, and this is a more
This is the
detailed
part I wanted
analysis
you
of
to see,
the
RJ.
ship leaving.
I mean,
Okay, so
just listen to what he just said. For anything, you'd need minimum. What would you need? 10, 15 minutes to dispatch a squad on each end so no one crosses the bridge. You mean to tell me that they knew 15 minutes in advance they were going to hit that, that pier?
That's why you're the famous Randy. Okay, you just stole the thunder of what he's going to say. There's no way they got this, because this ship comes out. It's going to need to build up its ramming speed, so it takes a wrong turn, and then it starts moving this way so it can get a free run. You'll see.
I mean, they wanted to call that in
off the
15 minutes, a May Day, 15 minutes
into the open ocean.
Dispatch a 911.
Here, though, how it
and then get them workers off the bridge. And that didn't happen. There's no way.
This whole story is just falling apart. Same day before our eyes. Honestly,
if they called in a May Day, there wouldn't have been enough time to do anything other than, okay, focus the cameras,
The last time I've had this feeling was about this time of a night, and it was on the Boston Marathon Massacre. Does that ring a bell to anybody out there? Now listen to me, people. I stayed up all night. We solved it on Reddit. We had pictures of 28 people dressed in the same boots, same pants, same backpacks. We nailed them. We had their pictures laid out. At 7 o'clock Central Time that morning, they came out with, accept no pictures unless we show them to you. There are people on Reddit claiming people that only these two people, the Cowries, are the suspects. Help us find them. Everything else is a distraction. We're on it that quick this time also. So it has to be a total psyop. Stop it, Marcella. I'm supposed to say that first. But I mean, this is a 9/11. Hey, Big James. Yeah, that one, it could be a demolition when the ship hits it. I don't know. I want to see more slowed down. We've got to have it other angles. Where are all the security cameras?
It looks like a pretty good sized tub for compared to the structure of that span.
I know. You would think that if it's that dangerous to pilot one of those super tankers, that you would get more reinforcement on the pilings, because they're let me finish this one thought. The press and the president are just kind of like shrugging their shoulders, going like, these things happen. No, they don't. Nowhere else in the world has this happened.
Or worst case scenario, we'll let the tugboats take it out.
Yeah. Oh, that'll cost us a whole extra hour. You just cost yourself billions and billions and billions of headaches.
No, because good old Uncle Joe said, put it on our tab. That ain't nothing.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying that the black the one engineer that you sent me, he doesn't he imply that when they put out the black smoke, that it's like he's kind of like throwing it in reverse. It's like, he's really trying to do everything possible. But as the You
He
know,
doesn't, he's giving him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he understands what may or happen, but I don't believe he has an inside, knows exactly what went on and what they were doing. I think he was speculating.
right. And he put this on within an hour and a half after he woke up, because I mean, this happened at 1:30 in the morning and he was already putting it out. And I
Oh
was
yeah.
on my way to class. And so he had it out within hours. But thanks for stopping by, the loyal Tangi. He is as most people probably know, a frequent commenter on many of the short season millennial reign topics. It's something that he's obviously been fascinated with for some time. Let's take another look at the first man that Randy, how early was it? Well, I guess I can look at the email. I've got it.
Well, that was after we went off the air, and it
Right.
didn't take long for that to show up in my feed.
That's right. We did an abbreviated show this morning because something was up.
Out right down in the middle, and now she's careening toward the right side. Notice more black smoke coming out.
There's that black smoke. Now, loyal Tangi's, I just assumed that if this was real, wouldn't they throw it in throw it in reverse, or in that reverse all engines, things like that, but maybe he was accelerating, or you had to give it that little burst of gas, because watch how fast this tail end swings around.
So what's the timestamp? Let me blow yours.
3:07.
Okay, so if they're saying Mayday right now, that's 2 minutes from impact or whatever. What are you going to do in 2 minutes? You ain't going to dispatch a police vehicle on each end of the bridge to stop traffic from crossing, to set up a roadblock in 2 minutes. It ain't going to happen.
Not in this world. No.
And that's a big town, and they got all kinds of people on duty, but 2 minutes.
And that is one huge ship. We might be underestimating the size of this bridge. I mean, because that is huge.
I saw a helicopter image this morning that showed that the port side anchor had been dropped. So what you would want to do is try to arrest the forward movement of the vessel.
Which is the left side of the ship. Right?
If you start backing down on the ship, it's going to start twisting.
That's
starboard is right.
The ship going, stop the propeller, and use the rudder, you would have some control. But now the vessel is starting to veer out of the channel. And this is what we see. The ship starts crossing from the north side of the channel to the south side of the channel.
It would swing out the way that light gets revealed. You can tell.
And at the speed going,
it's
not able to stop her forward progress.
You can't stop that forward progress. You can only adjust it.
It hit a slick spot.
So, see the black smoke still coming out of the ship at this time. The ship now is coming out of the channel entirely. She would not have
look at that light now.
She would have had tugs to take her off the berth at Dundalk, but
now it looks like it's just coming.
Had propulsion
straight at it.
Or registered company. Dolly
Foghorn's not going to do any good right now.
By the larger operating.
Why is that guy got such a huge mouth?
Sure whose route she was on, what company she was servicing. She was out of Baltimore.
So you got about another 30 seconds
from a canal, and she was going to be heading across pylons. And understand, once you take
that light, you can see the ship is completely 90 degree now with
on top of that pylon. She's going to sideswipe it. This is going to be the
that's
worst
not a sideswipe, dude. This is a head-on.
Since Tampa back in the 1980s.
Yeah, it's perpendicular.
Yeah, this section of the road lands on the deck of the ship.
It was not just dropped,
right?
But it was angling aft, meaning that it dragged. But at any sort of speed, it's not going to stop the vessel.
La-di-da.
At about
Right there's
15
the
more,
splash.
15 more. Oh, yeah.
I jumped it ahead a little bit.
Done and done.
I am seeing a little bit. Maybe that's a.
Or take it back to that, whatever, 15.
That something is a. That's an
I mean,
electric.
515.
Okay, just a second.
Yeah, I can't detect much for demolition.
There's the splash. You see the
controlled
water
demolition.
hit. So it's not a direct hit, as you can see. Slightly less comes out of what would be the right side, and we're thinking that's the starboard side, and a big splash going higher. So he didn't hit it dead center, but that's the splash of water. And so a few more times.
So, yeah,
I don't see it. You almost, it's way after. I think it's a cable. Could be a bomb in the bridge to help it, but it didn't need any help. I mean, it's going down, down,
Yeah, I think
down.
the failure at them panel points, yeah, it just makes sense. There's no way it's going to take that kind of deflection. It's going to, fall in.
Right. Well, yeah, because that boat, what they said, it was the size of the Empire State Building or something. So here they take a wrong turn. Oh, they straighten it out so that they can get up to ramming speed.
Yeah. So, all right. Now, right here, you're going to see it change course before losing power and colliding. So, why did it?
Busted.
And colliding. So, why did it change course aiming directly into the pylon? That's a curious question, right? So, why did it change course at that point? We don't know. Why? Why did it change course? Now, if you lose power and you have to use.
For the record, RJ, I cannot prove that this is a conspiracy. I only think it is. Nobody's confessing to this. Nobody's going to come out of the woodwork and go, yeah, we did it. We turned right so we could turn left to get up to ramming speed.
But you can pretty much bet on whatever you're being told isn't the truth. So, yeah.
Exactly. But you know what it's going to come down to? 50-50. Half the people are going to think it's fake and half the people aren't. And the people that are think it's a setup are going to be branded as right-wing General Mike Flynn loving crazy people who don't love America.
Yeah, Putin got one back on him.
Whoa, doggone it. Putin, this is payback. The Putin he's pissed off.
Why did it change course? Now, if you lose power,
he has friends in low places.
In some cases, you might be steering
They'll kill you
in the opposite direction of what you're used to.
They'll do that revenge thing.
It's a reverse steering system. Now, I don't know if this ship was set up that way.
It's not like he's dwelling on it. But
I'm sure.
He probably is. I think he is.
Power that
he'll even the score.
The steering column.
And also, isn't it kind of curious? Like, those pylons have to be, like, they had to think about a boat running into those when they built that bridge, right? So one pylon going out collapses that much of the bridge. That seems like, that doesn't seem right. You know what I mean? Like, a boat could take out
it
a pylon,
seems right to me.
a whole bottom of the bridge.
Yeah, I thought the same.
Well, U.S. bridge infrastructure was built like 200 years ago. I don't know when the Francis Scott Key Bridge was. Yeah, I don't know when this bridge was built, actually, to be honest with you. I mean, I've driven over it since, I think, childhood. Like, I grew up, interesting, and we'll share it here, which shows how much it had to divert itself. Look at, or how it moved position. Watch this. So let's keep playing this here. Like, look how much it had to swerve in order to hit this pylon. Total change of direction when you see it in that kind of speed. With that kind of movement. Really crazy to look at.
Mayday! Mayday!
This afternoon,
Yeah.
GPS systems that
RJ,
drive these boats are not encrypted. Journalist Laura Logan, one of the best journalists in the world.
That's going to be hard for
in order
them to
hit
get
this
away
pylon.
from, you know,
Total
like
change of direction when you see it in that kind of speed.
Yeah, this is like watching them
really crazy
fake planes hitting the
Laura Logan tweeted this afternoon the GPS systems
towers on 9/11, and
Yep.
same way the fake one into the Pentagon, and then that hole in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. You know, it just doesn't add up. But for what it's worth, just another day.
I thought I put down what now, but I think I started calling it a mini 9/11 real early into this. And it seems like it's a mini 9/11 to me. So,
or it's really more like a mini Nordstream.
A mini Nordstream, you know,
Only that didn't take place on U.S., but U.S. was responsible, you know, kind of.
Really all we can say, and I'll close it out after I welcome Micah, someone I've never seen here before, but glad to see you. They're claiming, Micah, that they have put out a 15-minute, like, oh, we might hit the bridge, but based on timestamps, the Mudflood was Armageddon co-host, famous Randy, is you're rejecting that out hand. As of day one, you're saying that's not going to hold water.
Well, unless they sent out a Mayday, shortly after the tugs pulled it away from, the dock, and then they did that, 180
And since we don't believe in time travel, like the Atlanteans, they probably couldn't go back in time, send the Mayday, but somebody stopped the traffic where there was only that one semi that ended up in the water or something. And then 20 people didn't get the message that were killed that were working on the bridge. So this story is going to fall apart. And we're going to stick with the Bible. We're going to declare we knew it. We're not going to stay on this for 2 weeks until April 8th and the eclipse and we get distracted again. Let's call it tonight. This is BS. It's more government insiders attacking each other. Still going to fake an election probably. Life's going to go on. Stock market will set another record tomorrow. Brother RJ, the famous Randy from Wisconsin, will you solve everything for us so we can hear those words?
I don't believe anyone was saved, but I do believe there may have been a few rescues, and that's about it.
Yeah. So hold on. I guess the number right now is 19. So probably will go up. They usually give a low number, and then, tomorrow it'll be 33.
But it sounded like there were a couple rescues. Anyhow,
well, if you would stay on, brother, for a couple of minutes, so we can chat after this show. I want to talk about a few things, but for everyone else, thank you for joining us. This was a mini 9/11, as so many other things are. Believe what you want, but know one thing: we're only going to try to tell you the truth here, and the real truth starts with the Lord Jesus Christ. Every word he said is true, and the mud flood was Armageddon. The golden age is past. It's a flat earth nation. Because the mud flood was Armageddon, we're never going to tell you anything else. Why would we? we're called and we're trying to show you, prove to you that we have your best interest at heart. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao.